Like I said, I've been a superstar. And I got paid for what I knew. And I shared the game with them. So much guidance. That's what I did. They paid for knowledge.
Salutations, family, and welcome back to Ride Along with the Storm. Family, one thing that's been on my mind heavy lately, and one thing that I really wanted to speak about was the idea of self-forgiveness. Because a lot of times we are so enraptured in our own thoughts of forgiving others that we forget about self-forgiveness. And self-forgiveness is one of the most important realities that we can exercise in our lives. A lot of times, family, we have very toxic relationships, or we have toxic interactions with people, or interactions with people with toxic and narcissistic traits. And these people do us wrong in relationships. And when I say self-forgiveness, we have to understand, when we have these kind of interactions with a lot of these people don't have the ability to practice empathy. A lot of these people practice sociopathic and psychopathic behaviors. And these people aren't even able to be able to empathize and put themselves in the position of other people, let alone being able to come back and apologize for past transgressions they've made upon you. So what we do a lot of times, family, we allow these people to live rent-free in our heads by not practicing self-forgiveness. And when you say, Storm, what do you mean by self-forgiveness? I mean, when those people do you wrong, you can't sit around for days and weeks and sometimes years expecting these people with these narcissistic traits and the people that exhibit this sociopathic behavior to live rent-free in your head, family, and you sitting around expecting these people to empathize with you and apologize to you for past transgressions. What you have to do, you have to be able to practice self-forgiveness and forgive yourself for allowing these people to transgress upon you, and you need to be able to clear your conscience and move forward. Whenever I'm done wrong by people, family, I don't even have to forgive anyone anymore in my life. I never, when anybody trespasses or transgresses against me now, I automatically go into self-forgiveness. I say to myself, I apologize for allowing myself to be mistreated by this other person. I forgive myself for allowing myself to be transgressed by this other person. That way I remove the other person from the equation totally, family. Some of us have toxic relationships with family members. Even some of our parents have transgressed upon us in the past. And a lot of us find this as a stumbling block, or it hobbles us and prevents us from being able to go and live a fulfilling and a full life, because we hold on to many of these hurt feelings and hurt emotions from past transgressions from people, and we're looking for these people to come back and apologize to us, and this is never going to take place, family. But when you exercise self-forgiveness, then you can clear your conscience and you can clear your mind, so you can go on to live a fulfilled and fruitful life. When you allow people to trespass upon you, family, and you're not able to practice self-forgiveness to be able to wash clean your conscience and your mental state of these transgressions that people interact upon you, you'll never be able to go forward and have a life conducive to success. When you allow these kind of negative interactions to replay over and over in your mind and negatively impact your life, family, it's like having a heavy albatross around your neck. It's like being burdened and weighed down by your life experiences, family, and it's never beneficial to you being successful and you going on to live at the pinnacle of what you can expect in your livelihood and in your life. I don't know how else to explain it. Being able to practice self-forgiveness is one of the most important attributes we can obtain in this lifetime, family. When you see it, people oftentimes they carry these heavy burdens of these traumatic events and these traumatic situations. And a lot of these traumatic situations happen to us, family, in our early childhood, in our adolescence, in our early adulthood, when we were too young and we didn't have the discernment and we didn't understand the long-term ramifications of a lot of these decisions we were making in our lives, allowing these people to transgress upon us. Whenever someone transgresses on you, family, or they trespass on you, or they mistreat you, family, from now on, I want you to practice self-forgiveness. Forgive yourself for allowing that person to transgress upon you. It happens once, it doesn't happen again. You set your boundaries, you never let it happen again. But you practice self-forgiveness. You forgive yourself for allowing that transgression. You clear your conscience, and then you move forward, family, and you let the negativity and the toxicity go, and that way you can move forward. I want to thank y'all for joining me on this episode. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join me for every episode of Ride Along with the Storm. Thank you, family. Peace.